Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name's Eva and today I've got something very unique to show you, the Ibanez Musician MC100. This is a guitar with a very short production run, but also a very interesting place in the Ibanez history. If you're into vintage Japanese guitars or just like to hear about those quirky, one-off models that didn't stick around for too long, I think you're going to enjoy this one. I actually bought this guitar a while ago, but somehow never made a video about it, even though I mentioned it in my recent video about Japanese guitars. After that, I figured it was about time I gave it its own spotlight. I actually stumbled upon this one by accident. I wasn't even looking for the MC100 or the Ibanez Musician models in general. I knew about the higher end musician models but never heard about this one, but it caught my attention when I saw it for sale and the price was fair, so I figured why not grab it. So the Ibanez MC100 is part of the Musician series, a line that Ibanez introduced in 1978, though the production started a bit earlier in 1977. The Musician series was a big step for the Ibanez. It was one of the first line of original models. Before that, they were mostly known for building copies of Fender and Gibson guitars. So this series was Ibanez showing that they can design their own thing. Now the MC100 stands out in that lineup because from the whole Musician series it was the only one with the bolt-on neck. Every other model has that neck-through design, just like a Firebird, with that distinctive multi-wood sandwich look. The MC100 was kind of the entry-level version, and maybe because of that it only lasted a short while. By 1979 it was already discontinued. Now I originally wanted to do a big dive into the Musician series, comparing all the models and showing how they evolved. But wow, once I started digging, I realized there were so many variations that it would take an entire separate video or 5. So if you're curious and want to read up on all the details, I'll leave a link in the description for you to the website that has everything neatly put together. That said, even though the shape stayed pretty consistent across the series, the materials, electronics and hardware could be really different depending on the model. The higher end models even had this tritone system, basically 15 possible combinations of pickups in one guitar. Pretty wild for the late 70s. Back to the MC100 itself. Spec-wise, it's actually a really interesting mix of materials and hardware for what was considered the entry-level musician. The body construction is a layered design. You've got an ash core sandwiched between two pieces of mahogany. It's not as elaborate as the multi-wood sandwich builds on the higher-end models, but it still feels solid and resonant. The neck is a 3-piece rock maple bolt-on. On the top of the neck, you've got a 24-thread ebonized rosewood fingerboard. The ebonizing treatment makes it darker, almost like ebony in appearance. And we've got simple pearl dot inlays. For hardware, Ibanez went with the Gibraltar bridge, a really sturdy two-pneumatic style bridge, but with the Gibraltar tailpiece. The tailpiece usually had this cool scalloped cloud ornament, which unfortunately is missing on mine. And then on the headstock you've got the valve-tuned 2 tuners, which were Ibanez's own design at the time. Electronics-wise, you've got a pair of Ibanez Super 77 humbuckers. These are covered in black plastics and wired up with independent volume and tone controls for each pickup. When I first plugged it in, I was honestly stunned by how warm and open it sounded. that's the Ibanez MC100. At the end of the day, this was the entry-level model from the Musician series. It didn't have the fancy neck-through construction, it didn't have the complex electronics or the multi-layered wood sandwiches of the higher-end versions, but that doesn't make it uninteresting. It still has a very cool look, and sound-wise, it's got this really retro character. If you're into that retro Japanese guitar vibe, this one definitely delivers. It's not the lightest guitar in the world, it's got some weight to it, but that adds to the sustain and makes it feel really solid in your hand. And even though I have guitars in my collection that technically do more, I've held on to this one just because it has that cool retro vibe. It just has a feel and vibe that it's hard to replicate. If you've ever played the MC100 or any other model from the Musician series, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And also remember to like, subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when I post new videos. See you in the next one. Bye!